welcome back to the Built for the Trades podcast. This is your host and founder of Built for the Trades, Dan Dowdy. Today, we're talking all about team dynamics and how they can either elevate or decline the performance of your business. I don't know about you, but in the time that I have led trades companies, one principle always stands true. High producers will not work well around low producers. But what are high producers? How do you define that? What are low producers? How do you define that? And then once you define that, how do you know how to work through that? You see, there's been many years in business where I thought, that low performer is good enough. It's so hard to replace that person. And so I kept that person on board because I was either didn't want to replace them, I thought there was nobody out there to replace him or her with, or I just liked that person, and so I wanted to keep them along. And the result of that was a lack of growth in my business. The second result of that, I found myself losing the high performers, the people that I didn't want to lose. So if that resonates with you, you came to the right podcast. Built for the Trades is all about leadership development. We believe the only way to grow your business is through leadership development, because at the end of the day, we don't want to see the owners of the business doing everything in their business, being all consumed. I'd rather see you develop a vision, the right leaders, and build a self-operating business so you can spend more time with your family. So whether you're a trades business owner, you're a manager, or you're just a person looking to develop your leadership, you came to the right place. At Built for the Trades, we're all about faith, family, and then business. Because I don't know if you know this or not, 50% of your capacity to lead well at work really boils down to your faith and your family dynamics. Your relationships at home are so vitally important. I don't know if you've ever heard that before, but if you like what you hear, you came to the right place, so stay tuned. Today, I wanted to give a shout out to our podcast sponsor, Project to Payment. If you're a trades company out there and you're looking to take your company from pen and paper in the estimating invoicing process, check out Project to Payment. Through the link here in the Built for the Trades podcast, you can get your first 3 months free. Let's talk about high performers and low performers and really start with defining the two. You see, when I say high performers, a lot of people think about the sales that they produce or how hard they work in the business. But being a high performer is not just about sales, and it's not just about work ethic. Those are only pieces that make up a high performer. High performers live up to our core values. High performers are team players. So think about the people in your business and ask yourself, who are my high performers? And think about it in the context that high performance is not just their sales ability and not just their work ethic. That's only a piece of it. We want to see that they have integrity. We want to see that they are team players and they're leading the best example for our team. Now, if I define low performers, sometimes low performers have high sales and they have a hard work ethic, but they may have a negative attitude. They may be very selfish. They may not live up to our core values or be a team player. So pause for a minute and think about who you have in your business. Do you have any people who you might have defined as high performers, but now with that definition of a low performer, you're starting to think about, maybe they are a low performer. More definitions of low performer are people who don't have a work ethic or they don't have the ability to produce sales and they aren't a good team player. You see, in business, if we choose to kind of turn a blind eye to high performers and low performers, the outcome is going to be catastrophic for our business. We're going to see us very slow growth because whenever you're bringing along low performers, they set the standard for your business. It's like trying to grow your business or team, dragging an anchor along. And it's not until you finally cut that anchor loose that you see the acceleration in your growth. The other thing that you're going to find if you keep those low performers around is you're going to start to lose the high performers, the people that you did not want to lose in your business because they are tired of taking up the slack for the low performers. A good analogy of this is a sports team. We see it all the time. There may be a really high performer on a professional football team that just can't seem to win. And it's because that high performer may be really fast and really good at catching and have really great stats, but they are selfish. They're not a team player. They're not blocking when they need to block. They're not letting the ball go to other receivers. They're always demanding that ball, and it's changing and it's affecting the whole culture. They actually end up being toxic. So what you may have defined as a high performer, and that owner of that sports team may have thought was a high performer when they paid them millions and millions of dollars, ends up having a negative impact on the business. Another example of this in a sports team could be, maybe going back to football, could be an offensive lineman who is just the weak link in the line. And so they keep running to the right because he plays on the left and he can't seem to get his blocks right. He's not studying tapes. He doesn't know the plays. And it's really overall, that is also defined as a low performer. Somebody who's not taking the time to learn, work hard, be effective, and overall have a positive impact on the team. Leaving these people on your team will lead to frustration. It's going to lead to burnout and morale issues. So just pause for a minute and think about your team. Think about your business. Are you allowing these people to be in your business? If you are, that's okay. But moving forward, it's not okay. As you learn the importance that the low performer on your team sets the standard for the entire team. So let's talk about how to move through that. Now that we've defined what it looks like to be a high performer and a low performer, and you've really analyzed who you have on your team, let's talk through how to handle that. The first thing I would do is sit down with your low performers and set the standard. You can set the standard these ways: using your core values, using a position agreement, or using a position scorecard. And if you don't have core values, I encourage you to establish core values for your business. Put them on the wall, talk about them often. If you don't have a position agreement for that position, I encourage you, build a position agreement. That is the foundation of developing any leaders. They need to know what the expectations are for their positions. If you don't have a position scorecard, those are KPIs that we track that determine their performance. And every position in the business looks a little different as far as the KPIs are concerned, the key performance indicators. Those three tools will help you start to coach that low performer. So if you start to coach that low performer and they don't want to improve, the very next step is to get rid of that low performer as quickly as possible. Now you may be thinking, but Dan, there's nobody out there that really wants to work. It's so hard to replace that person. I've invested so much money in that person. I'm here to tell you, every time that you get rid of the low performer, the business is always better because of it. The team that you have in place is going to produce more revenue because you let go of that low performer. There's been many times in my career where I'm shooting for a number and I know that I need 6 or 8 technicians to be able to produce that number. And if I let go of that one technician, it's going to put so much more burden on the rest of the technicians to produce that number. And 100% of the time, when I finally let go of the low producer, the team produces more with less people. Now, I don't want to keep less people and keep that burden on them, but for a period of time, they are actually producing more because we cut the anchor loose from the company and the company is able to grow and produce. And we don't want to rest in that because over time, that could end up coming back to haunt us. So we do want to move forward and we do want to hire that next person in our business so we can move our business forward. So I don't know about you, but I'm fired up. I'm ready to go. I know that as I analyze my team, if I have any low performers, and I want to build a great team dynamic, and I want to grow my business, and I want to go to the next level, I am going to establish the core values, the position agreement. I am going to sit down with them, and I'm going to work to improve them. But I know over a period of time, if they do not want to improve, I can't make somebody want to improve. So I'm going to make that hard decision to cut that person loose with the belief that it's going to accelerate the growth in my business. So that's it for today's podcast. I hope this encourages you to analyze your team, take your team dynamics to the next level by coaching up your low performers. And if they don't want to improve, let them go. Please like and subscribe to our podcast. Share this with somebody else that you know that could benefit from this information. And I'll see you in the next episode.